believe in you, kid, because you are so worth it. Not only are you enough, but you are extra, and I love you, and you are gonna get through this no matter what it is.
Hello and welcome to Women Empowered. I am so excited today to have the most amazing Heather Monahan. You are so impressive. She is a sales and marketing expert, a women empowerment advocate. She has written a book called Confidence Creator, which I can't wait to hear about. And she is also the CEO of her own company, Boss in Heels. Boss in Heels. So today I just want to talk to you about, first of all, what is a boss in heels? What does a female boss look like?
So for me growing up, I'm 44 now, and when I started out, after college, I went to the Gallo Winery, which was a male-dominated business, and the boss, there was a bunch of them, they looked exactly the same. White men, navy blue suits, you had to look a certain way, dress a certain way, and when I was coming up, I thought, I can do that job, but I'm rocking heels and a skirt, and everyone would say, change your look, put your hair in a bun, put pants on. You can't get ahead looking the way you do.
Because they won't take you seriously.
Exactly. And I struggled for a while back and forth being someone I wasn't trying to, make other people happy at work. Mm-hmm. And in the end, I decided to shine my light and dress how I like to dress, mm-hmm. and wear my heels and rock my hair down because I like it. And that's when I really started making forward move and getting promoted and getting to the C-level in corporate America.
Oh, that's so cool. So how did you get into the corporate world to where you were eventually ruling that space? And what was that like? What, did you feel like the man-woman kind of adversity there? Or?
Yes, but interestingly enough, I was sexually harassed a couple of times at work, and as I became more experienced and more confident, that ended. Because as you know, people will treat you the way that what you're allowing for, how you see yourself, people mm-hmm. are going to treat you that way. So if you're second guessing yourself a lot, they see that they have an opportunity to try to bully you or harass you.
I don't know what the extent of the harassment is, but I'm sure you had guys making passes at you. I mean, trying to date you.
Early on, but truly since, probably my mid-30s, that stopped. Because I developed a reputation of being really tough at work.
And they were like, screw
I don't think people wanted to come anywhere near me, for fear of what might occur. But in the end, the irony of the whole thing, never was I so bullied by a man. It ended up being a woman that ended up really being my arch nemesis. I call her the evil villain of my career, that once I fired from my life, I took off.
Wow. And do you know why she had it in for you, or does it even matter?
I personally believe I've had a number of instances with women at work where they have been behind the back, secretive, malicious. And typically it's because of lack of security, a lack mm-hmm. of self-worth, a fear that maybe you're going to take their job, you're going to outshine them, they might not be as good as you. Again, that's all about them.
Or they want all the attention or something.
Right, or they want to be the only one to, be speaking for the company or whatever mm-hmm. it may be. And that's really been my experience. When you are a threat, you will always be the target.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So you wrote this book called Confidence Creator. And I heard you say one time on an interview, you said, here you were in this corporate world and you were running the show and you're at the top of your game. However, you felt like that was, you put on a complete front, that isn't actually what was really happening.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was a facade going on because it was very tumultuous behind closed doors in the workplace where I was being pressured I had launched a personal brand mm-hmm. to empower others and tell, tips and tricks how to get ahead. And the company hated it and they felt threatened by it. And I had to seek legal action. How can I protect myself? Is this legal? I didn't know those answers.
Right.
So I asked a lot of people. Along that way, so many people in your life care and love you, but they'll want to offer up their self-limiting beliefs to you.
Oh, the unsolicited advice.
Yes, so I would have great friends that love me. Take it down. Just get rid of it because you know what? You don't want to risk losing your paycheck. And that whole time I was struggling back and forth. Should I do this? No, this is something I believe in. I'm not hurting others. I'm trying to do something good that I feel positive about. You know what? I'm going to lean into it and move forward. And that was a 2-year window in corporate America where my life was a living hell. And I was constantly under the gun, and the pressure was ridiculous. It was targeted at the fact that I wouldn't comply and shut down my personal brand. And in the end, I ended up getting fired.
Because you had this thing, Boss and Heels, going on at the time that you were becoming your own brand, and they wanted you behind them 100%.
Exactly. Now, they didn't articulate it that way.
No,
they said to me, we've decided to get rid of the chief revenue officer position, and so that means after 14 years, we don't need you any longer. You can sign this memo saying that you resigned, and you'll get this check, or you can sign this memo, and it says Heather Monahan has been fired. What would you like to do? And I declined both. I did. And I just said, I didn't write either of these memos. I won't be signing either. And I have to tell you, for me, money's always been a driver. It's been my motivator. So to turn away from that check, but I've learned when you're up against a nasty person and you see them so happy and confident in that self, I knew that if I pushed both back, I would change the dynamic in the room. And I did. I said, no, thank you. I didn't sign up either of these because I didn't write either. And if there's nothing else, I'll be on my way. And I stood up. Of course, I'm fighting back tears. It's 14 years. But the dynamic in that room changed like that. And the other woman became bright red and was shaking. I mean, she was irate and shocked. And I walked out, and I never looked back.
So you didn't sue them, or so basically you agreed to be fired.
My position was eliminated per them, and so I left. And I went under a weighted blanket for a couple of days. I was, heartbroken.
You didn't go back to your desk though.
No, I just left.
Okay.
And so I left the company, I went home, and I really tried to think about, what do I want to do? What is it that I really want to do? After 20 years in corporate America, should I start calling all the people I know and go find another similar position, similar job? Or do I want to take this one opportunity to risk everything and go out on my own? And in the end, that's what I did.
Well, in the end, I love that story that you pushed it back because it put you in control. And that's when you said and discovered for yourself that, no, you didn't fire me, I fired you.
Exactly.
And you had that responsibility and control in your life. But so during the self-doubt phase, at the time you were probably, you're fighting back tears.
Panic.
Now you're in self-doubt. What do I do? So, and now you have these people that told you, oh, you should have stopped maybe. And then you have these voices in your head going, maybe I should have listened. Why did I do this? Now what do I do? Where do you go from there?
The first thing I did, and I would recommend this for anyone who's in a difficult situation, and I was not this person when I was younger, I decided no one's reaching out to me. It's been 2 days. I haven't heard from anyone. The company must be trying to keep this quiet. I'm going to go to social media, and luckily I'd invested in myself. Thank goodness for social media.
Love it.
I had invested in myself and in my network and grown my social platform, so I decided to post, I have been fired, and I am heartbroken, and this has been a really hard couple of days. However, if I've ever impacted you at all in the past 14 years at this company, I'd love to hear from you now. And it was overwhelming, the response.
Really? Oh, wow. And what was the response? They said?
Every time someone would reach out, they would say, I've been fired too, or, making you feel that you're not alone. Even though you feel alone. Now I felt that I was in good company. And then
that you could get through this.
You're going to live.
Strength in numbers.
Exactly.
You have a support system.
Exactly.
Don't you love your social media family?
Oh my gosh.
That's what I call them. I'm like, these people are my family.
Truly.
I love it. So how do you operate when you feel the fear? Because I get asked that a lot too. And I know you were scared at that moment. So you reached out to the people and that helped you. That was a support.
Yes.
And then do you just continue on regardless of the fear? Or were there days where you just said, you know what, I'm closing the curtains. I'm going to turn on the TV and eat ice cream?
The first thing I did after I asked for help and some opportunities arose, and I was capitalizing on the opportunities and asking for one specific thing from every person that would say, hey, would love to help. I would say, great, can you do this? And that allows to ensure that they're going to actually do something, because oftentimes people say it, they mean well, but they get busy and move on. So I got a lot of very concrete opportunities there. Then I created a 30-day plan which is the same thing I did when my son broke his leg.
Action.
You have to have something manageable. I didn't want to look forward 5 years and say, where am I going to be in my life and career?
Yeah.
Because I'd lose it.
The next day.
Exactly. I was just trying to get through that day.
Yes.
So I write out 30 squares, and I've done this many times for different challenges. And each day, not only do I write down the action steps I took that day, but I also write down what happened that I didn't know was coming. Because now that I was away from this toxic, negative environment and person, amazing people started showing up that were blocked before from my life because I was stuck head down in that mess. Now, amazing people showed up, like Froggy from the Elvis Duran show, saying, hey, can I help you? And I said, yeah, I want to go on the show. And he said, great, I'll get you booked for next week. And literally the things that it's so much like, to me now, I believe that the universe rises up to support you when you're ready to take those steps and walk into that fear.
I so agree with that. Like, getting rid of the negative people in your life is so important to growth.
It is.
So important to and even I remember back with the relationships. I used to have these bad relationships after bad relationships, but I had this mentality that was what was out there. So inevitably I would pull that in.
Right.
And it wasn't until I actually thought of the possibility of the what if there was that guy that was that amazing, that could be monogamous, that could be ethically ambitious, all the stuff I wanted, that could be drug-free, that could, what if that person existed? And then I was like, okay, so I have to be open to that possibility. And then I had to figure out who I had to become in order to attract that person.
Exactly.
Because I was attracting these people. So when you're in that situation, those people don't show up until you get out of that situation, and then it magically happens.
So true.
It is so true.
So true.
Golly. It's amazing. What do you think destroys confidence?
Well, I think it's different things for different people, right? But number one, if you allow yourself to be around a negative person day in and day out, it's going to chip away at you, and you're going to start playing the tape, whatever it is they're saying to you, putting you down. You're going to allow that tape to run, and you even just allowing that information coming to you and not standing up for yourself is going to hurt your confidence. So that's a big one.
Do you feel that comes from people that have your best interest in mind, or does it come from like I'm discovering this myself right now. Like, I feel like the most dangerous people are the people that you listen to, but you don't recognize that they're actually harming you because you think that you're friends, or you think that they're helping you because they have good intentions.
Right, I call those secret villains. And it's really important to, not every villain flies around on a broom, right? There are those people that sometimes are passive aggressive or give you that look, that they're not approving of what you're doing. And they don't mean ill will. You can tell that and you know that, but you begin to not feel so great when you leave their home or you leave their lunch or their company. And you start to notice, and journaling's been big with me for this reason, because when I journal at night, I just feel like crap. And then I would start looking back, that happens every time I'm with her.
Wow.
And then I decide, you know what, this is enough evidence for me to know if I'm not feeling good when I walk away from people, we're just not the right energy fit or whatever, and I'm not going to be available for this person next time that she calls.
Right, and you have no problem just cutting somebody off.
Well, people will say that it's very hard I'm not that tough, Heather, I can't do that. It's not about that. It's about choosing to put you first.
Right.
And when you make that choice, I want to feel good. So I know if I'm going to be around this person, I'm not going to feel good. The next time she calls, I'm going to say, thanks, I'm fully committed, and I appreciate you understanding. And you move on. It doesn't have to be a big fight.
Right. I know, that's what I do. I just kind of let things kind of just disappear and give it time and space. And you know what? I mean, who really in the big picture, when you really are connected to your purpose, and you have your book and you want to empower women, and you have your program, when you have all this stuff going on, who really has a whole lot of time to be just hanging out with friends all the time?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if I have the extra time, you want to be with your child, your family, I mean, the people that are, the epicenter of your life. And when you work a lot, there isn't a lot of time. So it's very strategic to evaluate how you feel with the people in your life so that you can really curate the right ones to be with you and where you're spending your time so you feel your best.
And people ask me all the time, I always get stumped on this question. I finally figured out how to answer it, but I want to hear your answer. Of course, it's how do you balance it all? How do you do your work and the kid and have your whole life? Like, people are they have so much attention and focus on this balance thing. Personally, I don't get it. I'm like, I just do life. Like, I just look at what's a priority and I handle that at the time. Then I do this and then I outsource. But do you have this balanced time thing, and how do you deal with that?
No,
and how do you answer that question?
I don't believe in balance. I don't think it's real. And when people say that, oh, I've got the solution for that, no, they don't.
Oh
that
my
is
God.
not.
Well, I hear they
not
meditate a lot, and I'm like, that's not my deal. I don't do that. But I know a lot of people do, you know. But anyway, go on.
Right. But for me, when I got divorced when my son was 1 year old, and I traveled all the time for work, so I had to bring in help. I had to hire help. I didn't have family run. So it's about the team that you surround yourself with, finding good people to support and help you. Now, over the years, my son's 11 now. It's a lot easier. He's a human being, right? So the important note here is things are going to change. It's not permanent. Whatever moment you're in, it will change and evolve, and inevitably it will get better. And it sure does when your kids get older, because you can explain to them, honey, mommy's going to take the book and I'm going to LA to this show and it's going to be great for you and me, and he's cheering me on,
he becomes
not crying.
Team Monahan.
Exactly.
You
That's
know?
exactly it.
Yes, I get it. I wish somebody would have told me that in the early stages of motherhood, that it is not permanent and it does get better. I just wish somebody would have told me that. I mean, it's a game changer.
It truly
just
is.
knowing that. I'm like, if they did tell me, it went in one ear and out the other. But in hindsight, I wish I had been told that, because at the time I just was dying.
Yeah, you're overwhelmed. It's really difficult.
I was overwhelmed, and and then if I would have just told myself, you know what, just hang in there. And it's going to get better. It's going to get, because now they're 7 and 9. It's like a dream
So much better.
age.
So
they
much
could do
better.
Oh, I love it. But I like what you said about this superpower thing. You talk about the superpower thing, and the fact that you said you're willing to get help. So many women don't want to ask for help. They want to do it all themselves. And it wasn't until I finally figured out, you know what, I am done. In contrary, let me tie it back into your superhero. But I'm done being a superhero where I have to do everything myself. Right. In that sense of the word superhero. And actually, in delegating, I actually became more of a real superhero.
Absolutely.
And you talk about it in your book. You talk about, find the superpower within you. How do you tell women to find that?
So there's a lot of different ways. One of the ways that I found worked great for me was I sent an email to 10 people in my life, and it basically said something like this. I'm really interested to know what's unique or different or a value that you see in me that I might not be seeing in myself. I'm really trying to discover what my unique value proposition is. That's essentially your superpower. Like, what's different and special about me?
Yeah.
And I got back 10 amazing emails.
Wow.
That are a huge confidence boost that I saved forever.
Wow.
But it was allowed me to see, some people can't just get up and speak. Some people can't connect with others very easily and quickly. And I had always thought, well, it seems like everyone can do that, because you just think everyone can do it, until you start to accept this is something special, this gift that I have.
I love that exercise. I want to do the steps where you do the 30 steps, the 30 blocks.
Yes.
And then I want to do that one where I send out an email just to 10 friends that you trust the most.
Yes. Well, it can be, I did people at work, I did people in my personal life and people in my social circle, just to mix it up, to see if other people saw me differently. But it was still essentially the same theme.
Yeah, which is that you can get up and speak, you're an initiator.
Right.
You can get along with people. And then how did you know how to use that and turn it into what you did?
I started speaking. I really leaned into the speaking, where before I was pulling back because I saw it was threatening certain people at work. They were feeling, it was
before you were fired.
Exactly.
Before you fired
exactly.
them. Okay.
So I could see it was affecting others. They didn't want me to shine my light.
Yeah.
So I started trying to play it small for a while. And then as I stepped into this and found out, hey, this is something special, a gift I've been given. I'm not going to waste that. That doesn't make any sense. So I started working with charities and doing things outside of work that really elevated my speaking and put me on larger stages. And then this was all happening over a 2-year period, where then when I got fired, I launched my book and I got picked up by the Harry Walker Speaker Agency the minute this went #1. That would have never happened had I not started stepping into that business and that realm. I wouldn't have had that track record or videos or testimonials to share with them to get that opportunity. So it's critical to step into your superpowers now. Do not wait another day.
I love that. And what do you think your old employees or fellow colleagues or your boss or whoever fired you, what do you think they would say about you now?
So my old team and colleagues I hear from in DMs all the time. Cheering you on secretly, I can't do it publicly. Love you, miss you.
Wow.
I get the greatest notes from my old team, which is amazing.
Are they doing well?
I try not to ask because I feel
I
don't want to be, the person on the outside laughing. If the company's not doing well, that's not going to support my people.
Or them, right, yes.
So I sort of distance myself from it, wish them the best, but I've had no contact with the old executive team that I was on. And, my assumption would be that they weren't happy when I was shining my light a little bit there. They must be blown away that I'm
they're like
megawatting now.
Yeah. So tell us about this book. How long did it take you to write the book?
So I moved very quickly, which I have a tendency to do. Once I got clear on, okay, I'm gonna go to business for myself, I thought I need a book. So I Googled, how do you write a book? I wasn't, someone who was a literary person. I hadn't written, I had no idea.
Me too.
And it basically says, sit down and write. And I did just that. I sat down and wrote every single day. And it started with me writing about me hating that woman. But then it evolved into different times in my life where I've had other villains, and how did I bounce back? And how did I come back from getting divorced? How did I come back from this challenge or that challenge? And I started realizing I had a roadmap to get through this, which helped me feel more confident during this time, and then made it clear, I should be writing about how to create confidence for people, because that's something I innately have learned how to do because of the challenges I've been faced with. And I told all the different stories and the tips and tactics that I wanted to share with the world from them.
That is so amazing. I say, when I wrote my book, as I wrote the book, I could actually step out of my life and see my life, and everything started to make sense. And then by the end of the book, I felt like I was writing the book for me. And I heard you say that in an interview or on a speech you gave or something. You said, I ended up writing this book for me, which is so amazing because here you are, this confident woman writing a book about confidence, yet you need the confidence creator because you lacked the confidence.
But here's the thing, and this is important for everyone to know. Confidence is not static. It's going to be very high in your personal life. Maybe right now it's not high at work. And maybe that changes in a year. But if you want to go to that next level, and for me, I'm always pushing myself to go to that next level. When you want to get on that bigger stage or that bigger opportunity, all of a sudden that self-doubt might show up again.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if it's been running in the back of your mind for 20, 30 years, which it had been for me. So you have to know, okay, I feel self-doubt coming. How can I correct the situation and get back on my path? And I do a ton of different things. I have a playlist that I throw my earbuds in and I fire it up. Kendrick Lamar, I Love Myself. And I remember, oh yeah, I do love myself. And I can do this. Exactly. Yeah. Right, like having these different rituals really that you can pull when you need them can pick you right back up so that you don't have to nosedive and start over from ground zero again.
Yeah. And sometimes I go to, I feel a certain way, but then I'm like, Elena, where does the feeling show up in the physical universe? No one knows what you're feeling. It doesn't. Sometimes I just go, you know what? And I learned this from being an actress. Like, the show must go on whether my knees were shaking or not. So I go, the audience doesn't know my knees are shaking. I mean, unless it's very visual. But for the most part, they're like, they can never tell. So I've learned to operate despite having those feelings. Right. So if I can't make them go away, which obviously would be ideal, because I love what your technique. But if you can't, just do it anyway.
Well, you know what? It's so funny. I mentioned to you earlier, I was on Steve Harvey this week, and this is one of the bigger shows that I've been on. And I had 2 hours to kill before going on, which is not, that doesn't work for me. I like to stay busy right until I walk into something big. It helps me just stay in motion. Yes. Objects in motion continue in motion. I wasn't. I was sitting on the bed at the hotel waiting. So what happened is I got into my head and I started getting stressed. I tried my regular things to, my playlist. I used lavender scent. I tried a lot of strategies and it wasn't working. And I thought, okay, worst case, what can you do? And I remembered EFT tapping. I don't know if you've ever done this. It's a way to touch on the meridians in your head and in your hands that physically releases stress for you. And I did it for 5 minutes and it was gone. And I was so proud of myself that I remembered a tool that I had in my toolbox from years ago. And I thought, you know what, I don't want to go downhill. I need to get rid of this anxiety and stress. And it was gone. And I went out there and it went great. And I was so excited that I had that, that lever to pull. I just want other people to know there's always a solution out there. You just have to find it.
And do you think that's what confidence is accomplishing something no matter what? Like, what is confidence to you? What is confidence? And why do we need it so badly?
To me, confidence is knowing you can walk into a room and it's irrelevant how the people respond to you because you feel good about yourself. And what that transitions into is if you want to go pitch yourself for a promotion, you're going to go do it because it's irrelevant what the response is. It's about you doing this for you. You taking this chance, you testing out the waters and trying different things, but learning who you are and pushing yourself to the limits. Confidence is so important because a life without confidence will allow you to operate at a much lower level, never living to your full potential, maybe never meeting the kind of person that you had the potential to meet because you're too afraid. And confidence is essentially, the antithesis of fear, and fear is a liar. And when you are equipped with confidence, you're clear on that and you see fear as a green light to keep going. And for a long time for me, that fear was a red light that meant, Heather, go back, dial it down, get small again so you can make everybody else feel comfortable. And confidence has empowered me to push through that.
Have you found yourself forcing yourself into uncomfortable moments just to gain more confidence?
No, never would I do that. No, but I do.
But I mean, do you seek it out? Like, is that something you do?
Yeah,
get
I know that I need to. Once you write the book, then the question is, when's the next book, right? I mean, it's never ending. Or the question.
Do you want to do a next book?
I've already started. Of course I have.
Can we know what it's about?
Yeah. So Confidence Creator is a compilation of my lowest moments across my life and how I learned how to build confidence. Okay. My second book, which I am planning on, it's fluid right now, but I'm planning on titling it Confidence Creator 2.0, the next level, which is everything that's happened to me since I've gotten fired and how I got here today, because it has not been linear. Right. It's more like an EKG machine. Some days I'm killing it and I'm on top of the world and everyone sees that, and other days awful things have happened. Like I partnered with Perry Ellis International and I was so excited about our partnership, and we were going to HSN with an activation clothing line all around empowerment, and I put so many man hours into this, and it ended up in the end, HSN loved my pitch, which I obsessed about, and didn't like the product we came in with and told us to come back with a new product. And Perry Ellis is a multi-billion-dollar company and said, we're not going to pivot and change this. That's it. So I had walked away from 6 months of time and investment. And I
Plus
felt
visualizing where it's going to go.
That was my number one revenue driver in my mind. And I was so down again for a minute to say, shoot, how do I pivot out of this one, Heather? Should I go back to corporate America? And those thoughts came right back in again. And I had to pull myself back up and take that next step. And that next step went into really leaning into the speaking business and learning it, which has taken months of time. And I had no idea the revenue and the size of that business out there, because I lived in a different business that people didn't pay speakers.
Right.
So it's all about
learning.
They're looking for women. They're looking for women.
You're hitting it at a good time.
They are looking for women. Yeah, but you don't know if you don't pick your head up and just dive into it to figure it out. And most of us, I know me for a long time, I didn't have that confidence to do it.
Well, looking at you, and it's going to be a generality, and I'm sure you might get this a lot, because you look at you and you just look so phenomenal. Somebody would look at you and say, she hasn't really had low moments.
Oh my gosh, you're killing me.
You tell me this one moment, and that is a low moment. I get that devastation of that Perry Ellis moment. Yeah. But really, what what other low moments has Heather been through?
In my life?
Yeah.
Oh my, getting divorced was horrible with a 1-year-old, and I was upside down in my building. It was 2008, it was the recession. My company that I was leading decided to fire a third of our employees to try to cut costs. They cut my pay. However, the building I was in was going bankrupt because so many people were foregoing their homes. So they took
It was a condo?
I'm in a condo. They took an assessment out on the remaining owners. So people like me that were getting their pay cut living in this building, suddenly your monthly fee to live there tripled. So I saw my income nosediving, my costs excelling, and
Now you have to sell.
I did not sell. I actually found a way out of it. I put a plan together and I really focused in on how can I drive more revenue? What can I cut back on expense-wise in my life? I found a really good nanny. So I worked out a solution. It was not a nice time. I mean, people
2008 was not a nice time
for anyone. But people can look at someone today and say, oh, they've always had confidence. And I do have people that have written reviews. This would be a great book if the author didn't look like she's had it together her whole life. However,
that's so dumb.
Well, what's interesting to me is people correlate looks with confidence. That equation does not work. Because there are plenty of not attractive people
Models,
who are exceptionally confident, right?
Actors,
and the opposite, that are so not confident.
They're so messed up.
Exactly, right. But our society is so consumed with this fake persona that people have, and fake news and fake media and Instagram
and the filters and everything. Which I can't diss all my filters, but you get the point.
Totally.
All right, so we're gonna wrap up in a minute here, but. What would you tell your 20-year-old self that you wish you would have known then and it would have saved you so much heartache?
Believe in you, kid, because you are so worth it. Not only are you enough, but you are extra, and I love you, and you are gonna get through this no matter what it is.
Woo!
Oh my gosh, I get chills too, because I think of talking to myself like that. I wish so much I could have been there for myself back then.
Me too.
Oh, gosh.
I wish I could have been. Don't you love your age right now?
Love and hate. Wait a minute, it's a love and hate.
But
the wrinkles, losing my eyesight. I'm starting to lose my eyesight.
Oh no! Don't tell me that.
Aging is an interesting
brutal.
thing. It's tough.
But the inner, why didn't I have unbelievable
God
the
does
power?
not give us that right mix.
Why didn't I have that at 20?
Old physique and power, physically
and
matched
have what I feel
inside.
Because now
Unstoppable.
Unstoppable. So, okay, on the last note, why do you feel you have this burning desire to help women? I mean, especially because you were burned by a woman.
But that's why you should, right? Because when I was growing up, when you were growing up, we didn't have those people advocating for us, extending the hand to help. I so often didn't have people extending a hand. I saw them kicking their heel down to my head, trying to get rid of me. I don't want, just because they did that to me doesn't make it okay for me to say, well, I've made it, I'm on my way. And to me, living a purpose-driven life, which I know you believe in as well,
oh, yes.
It is such an amazing feeling. People will always say, are you so happy now that you're out of corporate America? And I say, well, I miss my guaranteed paycheck. I miss my teams of staff taking care of me. But you know what? Every day I wake up a purpose-driven life that I cry so many days. I'm so excited that I can get through the EKG machine known as entrepreneurial life.
Entrepreneurial life, right? Amazing. You are so inspiring. I loved having you on the show today.
Thank you.
You have got to check out her book, Confidence Creator. Where can they pick up a copy?
You can get Confidence Creator on Amazon. I've got a Kindle, a paperback, a hardcover, and I narrate the Audible, which I know you did too, and it's such a crazy situation, so the Audible's done very well. Or you can check it out, heathermonahan.com, at my website.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you.
You know, I always love talking to women like you, and I always wish that, some 20-year-old out there is listening that just went, wow, that one little thing changed somebody's life. And I do believe you did that today. Thank you so much for watching Women in Power. We will see you next time.
I have girls that send DM Grant naked photos of themselves. You want to know how I deal with it?